Do you got the graphic up? We didn't get the.
It's right there.
Okay.
Welcome to the Talking with Angels podcast. I'm Justin Woolwine.
I'm Pops.
How we doing?
Clayton. Doing good. Doing good.
Okay.
We didn't really
We're underprepared this
we're
week.
underprepared. We had a lot going on, but it's a special episode. I wanna say I feel like it's a special episode because it's dedicated in the memory of a lot of people. A lot of people we've lost that didn't get a chance to recover. Some of these people are really close to me and dear to me. Um, for instance, I'd like to tell a couple stories about a couple people. There's some names on that list that we lost that are probably. I feel like they were just too good of people. Uh,
Okay.
Somebody like Stevie Thaxton, for instance, on there. Stevie, he could play any musical instrument. He was a musical genius. Could have been as big as any guitarist, Jimi Hendrix or anybody. Just amazing with the guitar. I miss him dearly, a whole bunch. And this one's supposed to be about recovery. And in saying that, another one, Jeremy Yeager, me and him best friends for years. Uh, Recovery isn't just about the people recovering from the addiction. It's about all the people who that addiction affected.
Yeah.
Uh, as we talked about before, my problems with drugs and alcohol affected you guys.
Mhm.
These people on this list, their addiction affected a lot of people.
Yes.
They left behind a lot of people that are missed. I couldn't even imagine being a parent. So my heart goes out to the parents who have lost children. Um, I just, I always pray for them. They're always in my prayers and my thoughts, and I have nothing but love for them. Would you want to read the list off?
Yeah, I mean, I can read the list off. You got the ones that came in later that
Uh,
was unable to add to the list
yeah,
while
yeah,
I read these off.
I'll find them.
So, I mean, in memory of a couple people that didn't make the list that came to mind later or came in light later, we'll start with Bruce Woolwine, Uncle Bruce,
Yeah.
Papa, Tommy Woolwine, or James Thomas Woolwine, however you want to put it, um, Evan Aiden, and then we have Stevie Thaxton, Rick Legg, Tommy Oakley, Tommy Smith, Chad Lane.
Tommy Oxley.
What did I say? Oakley?
Oakley, it's
It
Oxley.
looks. I'm blind as a bat. I apologize.
I got some stories
Tommy
about
Oxley,
Oxley too.
Chad Lane, Josh Taylor, Kelly Kearns, uh, Ben Cavender, Paul Shanklin, Sean Mullins, Aaron Ruckman, Aaron Combs, Brenda Burdett, Travis Venoy. Am I pronouncing that right?
I'm
Venoy?
not.
That was the name given?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a given name.
Brandon Means, Chad Robinson, Elizabeth Knight, Jeremy Yeager, Samantha Bubbles Brooks, and Randy Holly.
And then here I got Herbert Russell, Ryan Good, Jennifer Knoll, or Ryan Brown. They called him Gooch. And Herbert Russell was known as Bucky. Jennifer Knoll. And hold on, I might have some more here. I had a lot of people reach out and send some names. I was grateful for that to let people know. Josh Cooper, Peter Dante.
Peter Dante.
Those are names that people let me know they miss and love. But we're doing this. It's about recovery, and so I just want to say right off the rip. Sorry, I'm having.
Go ahead.
technical
You do
difficulties.
your thing.
not just the person with the drug addiction has to recover. So us as people, I know, for instance, when Jeremy passed, when he first passed, it was well, I'll start even before that with Rick. Okay, when Rick Legg passed away, he didn't OD. It wasn't an overdose. He had kidney failure,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent a lot of time in the hospital with him because Jason was incarcerated, and I spent a lot of time with him towards the end. And Rick probably could have got a kidney. They probably would have helped him, and he chose. He was like, "Look, I'm not quitting partying. I'm not going to stop doing coke. I'm not going to change who I am." And at the time he did that, I had so much respect for it because as a person who was also using, I looked at it as like, man, that's gangster. You're just gonna do your thing and go at, you know what I mean, and not change it. And so I stuck by him through it all, and I seen that he wasn't ready to go. You know what I mean? At the end, maybe, but I think if he would have had a chance to make that decision again,
It'd be different.
he might have changed his mind on that. And so like this don't just have to be some of those names. I'm sure I'm not for sure because I even told people it didn't have to be a drug overdose. You know, if drugs affected your life, I know a buddy on there, Sean Mullins. He got hit by a train. He had been drinking, walking on the railroad tracks with headphones in, and got hit. And it was sad, but it was caused by that. Um, there's another name, Jermaine Pope. He was murdered. I'm not 100% sure if it had to do with drugs, but I think it did. Uh, so I would like to mention him. There's some other people on that list, like Don Terry. Don, I worked, I was real close friends with her sister, and me and her become friends. Nicest woman on the planet. Helped me keep a job for a long time. Even when she didn't have it, she would help people out, loan them money, take care of them, take care of everybody's kids. Just a great woman. A lot of respect for her. We all lost somebody special with her. Um, and there's more. Steve, like I said, Stevie Thaxton. I talked to his mother, Becky, on Messenger, and Becky knew me before, back when I was really wild, like before you were born. I hung out with Stevie a lot. At one point in time, if you got marijuana in Charleston, West Virginia, there was one or two places, and it was me or him. And me and him hung out all the time. It was crazy because most people who competed against each other didn't hang out, but we would sit around and we'd hang out. And we'd just trade sales. Like he could take one, I could take one. That's how we would hang out. And Stevie would make music, man. It was crazy. You could sit around in his basement, and he would just come up off the top of his head and could play anything he heard. I had headphones in one day, these big headphones, and it was Tupac playing "You Can't See Me," the song, and Stevie heard it somehow through my head. Yes, and he's sitting there with his guitar, and all of a sudden he starts playing, and I'm like, wait a second. And he's playing what's playing
in your ear.
Yeah, he was that good, like just that good, and he had such a big heart. I can remember in my sixth grade when he went to Robbins, I went to Watts, so it's two different schools, but we ended up at a Super Bowl party, and another guy who passed away. Shout out Danny Davison, BJ Davison, Brian Davison's brother. We were all at a party, and Stevie was his friend, and I was BJ's friend, so we were all there together. And Stevie brought his guitar, and Stevie was eccentric. He reminds you of a genius. I mean, a real genius, and that makes me think about why a lot of people might even struggle with addiction in the first place. Uh, I believe we're all programmed from like what we watch on TV to going to school. So if you're different or eccentric, the people doing the programming don't like it. You're labeled a ADHD or whatever,
problem
a
child.
problem child. I was labeled a problem child right off the rip, you know. So Stevie was different. He he was not going to be programmed by school or by
A system.
society. Uh, I was the same way, still am very much so. So I think a lot of us who had that issue turned to drugs. I think a lot of people turn to drugs with that. You know, you didn't fit in with nobody, didn't fit in at school, so you turned to drugs. So, in order to recover from that, I think you got to go back to like the root causes of the problem. I think a lot of recovery programs and stuff like that are a band aid. They're not like they're not curing the disease. They're treating a symptom of it.
Yeah.
Like the drugs and alcohol is just a symptom
Of the main problem.
of your main problem, whatever the trauma may be. And everybody's trauma may be different. Uh, I'm the thing about drugs and alcohol is it don't miss nobody. It don't care what color you are. It don't care how much money you got. Don't care. Does it happen to poor people more than others? Sure, uh, because that's the way they're coping with a lot of the world. But then once you go and you got somebody successful, that's how they unwind. So it catches them too. So it's
Double-edged sword.
double-edged sword. As far as recovering though, I probably started recovering my recovery and didn't even know it, and I was still using uh, because I found God before I was in full blown drug use, finding my spirituality. And God kind of worked out like all the steps before I ever had to work out the getting sober part. So I guess in that I'm blessed. A lot of people go to these rehab, whatever, and it's about holding each other accountable and this and that. And I didn't go through none of that. I had to hold myself accountable, which was hard. And a lot of people can't do that, I think. And maybe that's why a lot of people don't recover because that was the hardest part for me was to get through pride and things of that nature. Playing victim. The victim thing is a big problem. Blaming everybody and everything else when really it's just circumstance. It's you're a product of circumstance and poor choices.
Okay. Before we get too off the beaten path,
Yeah.
um, you have been to rehab facilities
Yes.
and you've gone through their treatments.
Yes.
Why would you say that didn't work for you? What about that road to recovery just wasn't your road?
Hmm. Well, it just depends on which ones. What like I did treatment classes here in Illinois. I would go to them all the time, and everybody there is just trying to figure out how to get high. Like, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Everybody there,
How to
and
trick the system so they can still do
yes,
what
and
they.
so that's what you're doing too, you know. And not just that, they're just the judgmental. I think anything, and this goes with even religion. I believe that if you're trying to fix a problem, any problem, anything in life, you got to look inward. Because the universe is going to give you whatever you put out.
Okay.
So when you go to these places, they tell you, hold your brother accountable. And then, like, if you got a bunch of clean time or whatever and you relapse, it's like, oh, that's wasted. You got to start all over. And as somebody trying to climb out of an addiction, you do not want to hear you just took 10 more steps backwards. Like, so at that point, you're trying to hide it so nobody knows. So I just feel like some of that stuff, I feel like they should be teaching people to meditate, to do reflection, to search for what the problem is. My problem was I always knew I was meant to do something different. It took a while, but I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, I got to a point where I knew I was meant for something else. And so I just, believe it or not, start cussing God, talking trash. And God gave me answers. And they wasn't never the answers I wanted to hear. So you got to be accountable, yes. But you shouldn't be holding others accountable. You should be holding yourself accountable. I just don't think judging people or rewarding them with a chip, I think those are band-aids, because the second those programs aren't there no more, or you know what I mean, it leads to it leads back down the other way. I just I, I'm I'm a real firm believer, and whatever it takes for anybody to get sober, like, I'm 110% for that. I know in West Virginia though, I'll just throw it out there. I lived in Huntington. I was right before I moved to Huntington, I was in a mission in Huntington. Right before that, I was in a detox facility because I was actually laced. Somebody actually laced me. Uh, when I was there, I had people reaching out to me. Oh, we can help you and your kid get a place if you go to this treatment facility. And at the time, I wasn't even on drugs really. I was smoking weed. I wasn't even doing hard drugs. Every once in a while, yes, occasionally I was, but I wasn't like, because I was staying with people. I didn't have, if they were doing them and giving them to me, yeah, I don't, but I wasn't like buy. I didn't have money to buy. People's like, if you go to this treatment center, we'll get you help. I'm like, look, I'm raising a kid. I can't go to no treatment center. But it was like you couldn't get the help unless you went
To the treatment
to
center.
these drug programs. And then even I had a landlord. I was in the homeless shelter. I got a place. The landlord that got me the place the homeless shelter sent me to was a rehab guy. He was like the king of the rehab facilities down there. Old man, war vet, real nice guy. I like him, but he had all these tombstones in his yard. One of them had his name on it, and then he had like three other dudes' names on it, and then he had a blank tombstone. And when I first moved in, he showed me these. And it was like he was hinting to me that my name was going to be the next name on that
Tombstone.
And the tombstone was, I guess, like a symbol of the death of the old you, kind of. But that was another thing I struggled with the drug use, was because drug use had become who I was. So, like, if we kill that,
What is left?
what is left of me? Who, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I struggled with that. And I was like, you ain't getting my name on no tombstone. So, like, I was one of the ones that fought it tooth and nail. I didn't want to change who I was. And I had sold drugs since I was 13. I had been drinking and partaking since 11. Uh, that was me. That was who I was. And so I had to realize that maybe to become who I was, I had to go back even younger than that. So, like, I had to find that 7, 8 year old little boy inside of there. And that's what it took. Like, it's really what it took, was finding that little kid. and thinking about the things that was important to that little kid and how much I had let that little kid down. And getting back to that, like that's really what it was crazy when I was a little kid. I had an imaginary friend, and whenever all this stuff started, when the spiritual stuff started, it was like God kept telling me to talk to the imaginary friend again, and I'm arguing with him like I ain't talking to, you know. And then God let me know I was talking to him right then. That him and the imaginary friend were one and the same this whole time. You know what I mean? And so that's how he led me to find out, like, look, you got to look at sometimes at things through the eyes of 7-year-old you. And I do believe we read a verse uh, from the Gospel of Thomas on one of the other episodes about the 7-year-old come to me as a 7-year-old child.
Yeah.
And that's what he is getting at there. So I think getting to that and getting to remember who I was back then, and it's a lot of I don't know, some people would call it like shadow work or mirror work. It's a lot of self
reflection,
a lot, and you don't like what when you first started, like, oh god, you don't like none of it. You don't like not one thing you see, like not one bit of it. And I think a lot of people stay in addiction because they don't want to change, because that change is scary. Because even as somebody like who doesn't partake no more, if something's about to change in life, kids are about to go back to school, oh god, it's a change to your whole system, and we as people automatically think change is bad. So I had to rewire my brain that hey, change ain't a bad. That's growth. That means we're growing. That means we're becoming who we're meant to be. So I had to really get a grasp on that, on change, on what change was about, and that most changes are necessary and have to come about. Just if you want to continue to survive, I think you have to change daily, grow.
I want to jump back. So you mentioned how as an adult you had to go and think, what would 7, 8-year-old me think? What did that process look like? Because I mean, obviously you started it in your late 30s, early 40s. That's
it was 40s.
Well, that's 30-some years of
look. I went
reverse.
Yeah, and even getting to this point, I went through, like I said, there's been 3 years now that I've been like really, really sober. Before that, it was off and on, hit and miss.
You were slightly sober.
Slightly sober. Well, and even now, like I said, I still smoke weed. I'm California sober.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I'm not gonna lie to nobody. That was another problem with the rehab places and the facilities. None of them, all
Unless
of them.
it's a prescription that they're pushing at you.
Well, and I didn't like that. Like they could put me on Suboxone, they could put me on this, they could put me on this, but God forbid I smoke a joint. And so I just know what's growing out of that ground is much more healthier because I'd already went through the pain med thing, the benzodiazepine thing, all the other nerve drugs they gave me, brain drugs, headache drugs. I went through all that. And that was another thing because all those drugs made me realize, look, these are horrible. So that's another reason why I had a problem with street drugs, because it was like, look, I'm not going to medicate with those because I feel like garbage. I'm horrible with those. I can't function. At least with the cocaine and the, you know what I'm saying, whatever else I'm doing, the meth, any of it, I could function and do what I want. You know what I'm saying? Until it become a manageable. But for the most part, if you eat too much of anything is poison. So at the how I got sober though, was I was doing the ministry work, and we were in Kentucky, and we were feeding people. It was me and my wife and the kids and all of us, and we were on our way back to West Virginia, and she wanted to get back quick. We'll just say, and I didn't want to get back quick because I didn't care about getting back to do what was there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got into this big, huge argument over it because some money was messed up, and I remember I took off walking. I just took off walking. I looked up and I prayed. I told God, I said, look, man, it's time. I want to go to jail. Something's got to change. This ain't working. It's just not working. Like, I can't do it like this. And so 5 minutes later, the cops pulled up and I went to jail. And when I was in jail, I made my mind up. I made my mind up. Like, look. And even still after that, I partied every once in a while. Like, there was times. It wasn't all the time. It was every 6 months, every occasion. I wouldn't do it a lot of anything, but if somebody offered me something, I'd do it. And then it got to the point where even that, my wife was really struggling with addiction. So even doing that, I couldn't bring myself to do it. The verse I'm going to read here in a little bit, I'm not going to do it right now, but the verse I'm going to read will touch on some of why I just hated myself anytime you know what I mean? And the next day I felt, you know what I mean? That feeling of this ain't for you. This just ain't for you. And even now, you'll be getting married soon. And I'm sure that I will partake in alcoholic beverages at the wedding. You see what I'm saying? So any rehab program or anything like that is totally against that. And some people can't. Do you feel me? Like, some people just can't do that, and I understand that 110% too. But I think recovery is an individual.
It's a different battle for everybody.
It's a different thing for everybody. What works for me, my story ain't going to work for you or work for them. And what works for them ain't going to work for me. Some people are non-playable characters. They're NPCs, and they have been programmed their whole life, and they don't realize. So that go in here and be programmed into recovery works for them, and it saves lives. Other free thinkers aren't going to.
Yeah.
That's why those rehab programs don't work for
everybody.
That's
why they're a percent.
That's 110% because most people have been programmed. Even like watching us right now, that's programming. Every time you pick up your phone and look, it's programming. You're being programmed in school. Half the stuff they taught us in school when I went to school, they've done prove ain't even true. Like, if you look at history, we was told Columbus Day, right? Columbus was this great dude that discovered America. He didn't discover shit. There was millions of people here. He come here and got sick and killed and raped and robbed. Like, everything they teach you. So you got to rewire your own brain and unprogram yourself. You can't depend on the government to do it for you. You can't depend on society to do it for you. Nor, there's two kinds of fucking. Okay, there's a fucking, I don't care. I'm not going to try. I'm going to lay here and I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to fucking kill myself with drugs and I'm going to drink myself to death. And then there's the kind of fuck it where it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care what you think, what you think, what you think. I'm doing this for me. And when you get to that fuck it, you're in a good spot. You're in a real good spot.
Okay. Might be enough fuck it's for the program.
But for all that bombs we're going to drop.
Yeah, I think your point was proven.
Yeah, I think the part about getting to the point where you're ready to recover is the hard part. I think it's the hard part. Listening to that voice that's telling you, look, enough is enough. Because I'm sure everybody, could also say like, look, I've been to that. Even people still in active use, there there's points, there's seconds where they're like, look, this I'd rather be dead. And so it took wanting to rather be dead. Like it was crazy because I would curse God and tell him, why don't you take me? Especially like Jaeger. When Jaeger passed away,
Yeah.
I cursed God. And why in the fuck wouldn't you take me? Why didn't you take me? Why would you take him? Because he was so talented, artist.
Wouldn't hurt a fly.
Wouldn't hurt a fly. Best man, best friend, my brother. I love him to death. And then he was giving the drugs. And for a long time, the person that gave him the drugs, we was friends too. But for a long time, I wanted to kill him. Like I really I wanted to kill him. But it wasn't his fault. I After Jaeger had passed, I had a dream, and it was like he was waking me up. He said, "Look, man, you gotta stop. You gotta do something better. You got babies." That's what he told me, and he just told me it was okay, and he told me not to be mad at dude. And so I'm not. I've talked to dude since then, and I've let it go. I know a lot of people have resentment and pain in their heart because when you lose somebody you love, you want to blame somebody. There needs to be somebody to answer
Somebody
for
needs
that
to be held
shit.
responsible.
Yeah, somebody needs to answer for that shit. But sometimes it's just circumstances, man. We're all human. We all make choices. Sometimes it's just circumstances. I think if anybody should be held accountable for any of the loss of life, for especially like fentanyl or pain meds. Jaeger wasn't even nothing like that. It was prescription drugs, that, and somebody had given him 2 prescription drugs that didn't mix up. Prescription drugs hit us like crack hit in the 80s. Nobody did any of them, and then all of a sudden they're everywhere, especially in West Virginia. And so after like Rick passed, and then right after that Jaeger passed, and it was just I had to get out of there. And so I moved out here and was back to working, doing things right. And then they prescribe you pain pills for everything. So it's like right back.
We're back to where you were.
Yeah.
Started at the same spot.
Started at the same spot, yeah.
Earlier you brought up how some people have the ability to partake sometimes or do different things. Like some might be able to drink and can't do other things, and then other people just done with everything. Right. And it made me think about, I guess, my situation. Last time we was on here, we talked about my addiction with stealing things, taking things that aren't mine. And it just made me think of like, and I didn't think about it before until recently, actually, but I think I was at the point when I was doing it that like there was some close calls, like getting caught.
Yeah, and you probably wanted to.
People fucking swinging a bat at my head or coming home and be like, "What are you doing?" And like there's just some wild things that happen, and it was just like one of those like, for one, at the time you're like the rush of it's fun. I'm like, I'll be honest, you're like, this is.
You feel like you're living.
You're like, this is what's better than this, and then, but after it's gone, it's over with, and you're set in a cell, and you're like, well, what if that guy hit me in the head with that bat?
Right.
Or what if
I'd be a vegetable?
What if that wasn't a bat? What if it was a gun?
Right.
Or I could not be here.
Right.
And it was just one of those things that made me realize that, for one, the temptation of doing it had to be gone. Like I couldn't even like put myself in the situation where the opportunity could be there.
Well, yeah.
Like even small things.
No, you're
like,
right.
I go to
Well,
Walmart and forget to
that's
ring
another
something up. I'll walk back
right,
inside and
and
pay for it.
Well, that's another thing with the recovery processes. During the self-reflection, you kind of find out who you are.
Yeah, I feel like you learn more about yourself
You do.
than you're like, okay, I didn't even know this was
Right.
a thing.
You
I didn't
didn't
know
I
I
didn't
thought
know
this
I had
way.
right.
I didn't know
Well,
I
even
felt
even
this
okay.
way.
Look, I'll be honest. A lot in my life, I wasn't the best person to my partner, females. Um, I would drop foul words, talk trash, scream, yell, and then I had an instance where my youngest son was on the phone with this girl, and I heard him talking like that. And that was a wake up call. I was like, look, so like, I don't like to be in a relationship with somebody if I can't be like, if we're gonna fight. I won't be around you because that's a trigger for me for that. And it was what I was brought up in this trauma that was caused by my dad and his dad and the family I was
Yeah.
around. That them dogging, talking to people, all, and it
Well,
was
it's on
part of
both
life.
sides because I mean you're on your mom's side or mother, like my grandma, the same thing.
Isaac, good
What's
to
up,
see you,
Isaac?
buddy. I love you. And it was like that, and it's real bad like that in West Virginia too. There's a lot of that in certain.
I think it's not the right thing,
No,
but
it's
I think
not.
it's an older way of thinking.
It's an older way of thinking. You're correct, but that goes back to rewiring, reprogramming. So once you start doing all this, whatever you want to call it, shadow work or whatever, you find out what your values are and what's really important. And at that point, you know, hey, look, I'm not going to break this for anybody. Like integrity is important. I'm gonna stand on it. Or um, I don't care. I'm not gonna rat on somebody to get out of trouble. Those are values that you hold true. Or you know what? I'll go without what my kids are. Or those are values that you stand on. Like even I have a hard time working a regular job. I have a real hard time because when somebody threatens me with my livelihood, or when somebody is constantly stirring the pot, starting trouble, I instantly pop off.
Jab back.
Yeah. And so I stand on those values no matter what now. But getting those values, it took a lot because the old me didn't have them. Um, as we've said, I had a brain injury or whatever. I know that people has told me stories about things I've done to people.
You didn't realize you did them.
Well, I don't remember I did them. After they told me I did, I'm like, man, that guy was a fucking ass. Like, no wonder you was fucked up all the time. Like, how do you live with? And so, like, I'm blessed because maybe I don't hold all those feelings and emotions that are attached to those memories because I don't remember them. So, in that, I'm blessed. It, but I know you got to work through that stuff because I know any memory that comes back to me that's fucked up, I got to work through it. I got to, or it will send me back down the other path.
Where do you think finding your values falls in the recovery process?
It's one of the first steps, and your beliefs too, because like I wasn't religious. I believed there was a God. I knew there was a God. I had been in, like, I knew, but I never ever. I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words. I didn't. Even still now, there's times that I'll be praying and I'm like, this ain't real. And he's like, oh, it's real, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's still times now I can't wrap my head around it and believe it. Um, but it was real hard. I battled with it for many years. And so I had to find my belief system too. I had to find out what exactly I believed in. And that's when the religion stuff come in. And with that comes a lot of guilt because religion is the most judgmental thing. It's right there with recovery. And so and both of them were just put out there to make a bunch of money, I feel. Uh, and to program. It's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I feel like if more people do inner work and look for heaven within and around us right here, rather than some mystical place up in the sky. There's this guru guy, and I was listening to one of his things, and he's Indian, and he said, "What if heaven? What if you're in heaven right now and you've been fucking it up this whole time? Like, what if this is heaven and you're just making a big mockery of it?" And that stuff like that made me realize that, hey, look, if you want to change the world or you want to do something, you got to change yourself. And so every day I'm trying to find little things, just little, not big ones. I think you can't. I didn't start and say, "Oh, I want to quit all the drugs." That wasn't like it was like, well, I ain't gonna do cocaine no more. You know what I mean?
Well,
it was like I quit what
but it's. I've noticed a lot of recoveries just finding something to replace that habit.
Oh, it is.
So, like for instance, me. I mean, even being an adult, I said, "How about I make a YouTube show?" And I'm playing with toys. I'm a grown man playing with action figures, but it replaces that time and puts that energy somewhere else.
You say that, and the gym. The gym is a miracle. It really is. I was in jail and getting sober, and I started doing little calisthenics exercises, and it become a ritual. Every morning I wake up. First thing I do is I pray. I take the kids to school, get the kids together. We pray after I've done prayed. Take the kids to school, and then I hit the YMCA. And first I do 40 minutes walking, 45 minutes walking, and I'm praying the whole time. And then I'm in the weight room for 45 minutes and I'm praying the whole time. And then I go home and I do yoga for 35, 40 minutes and I'm praying the whole time. And sometimes prayer isn't a psalm out of the Bible, or
No,
it's just having a relationship with God.
I talk to him like a normal.
Well, I have a conversation with
I
God
don't
like
even
we
hit
have
him
a
with
conversation.
amen or thank you at the end.
Well,
of
I don't
everyone.
use
I
amen
well,
ever.
just some people might.
I know they do, but I don't say amen.
But like, I just when the conversation's done, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people believe in a spiritual battlefield or a spiritual realm. And heaven it's right here with us. The people that are on that list, they're right here with us right now. I know it to be a fact. They're right here in heaven, right here around us, living in another dimension, right here, probably observing what is going on in this one. Uh, they don't want us to be sad. They don't want their deaths to be in vain either. I'm sure they want somebody to learn something from them. Um, so just rewiring yourself is key, I think. And then after that, you're gonna have a lot. See, and it can go one or two ways. I feel sometimes like I could have went the other way. I could be somebody out there homeless talking to the plants.
I can see it.
It really could have went that way. Like, no, I'm
No,
dead serious.
I
Like,
know.
it really could. I was at the point
There
where,
was moments.
yeah,
As your son, I'm
yeah,
like, Dad,
no,
you
no, there was more, and
gotta get out of here.
what the reason why is because when you're trying to figure out all this stuff and you're still partaking in drug use, and then you got people who you think love you stabbing you in the back and doing you dirty on top of everything, and then you got the justice system on you. It's like sometimes it's like, look, man, I could go sleep underneath this fucking bridge.
The bridge ain't gonna judge me.
Nobody's gonna judge me. Fuck, I might make it 6 months. I might make it 2 days.
I might make it 15 years.
Right. That's the easy way out, though. It's the coward way out. You know what I mean? Yeah. I hate to say it that way because I know people got people like that right now, and I don't want to say that. I'm just telling you, whatever it is, you got to figure out how to get to that person and make them want to fight. That person's got to want to fight. I had you guys. Thank God. If I didn't have you guys, I wouldn't be here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm so thankful every day. And I'm thankful to God for our relationship. All God wants is a relationship. That was the first step in recovery, was getting that relationship with God. Once I got that, and once I realized that God wasn't, I hate to even say this, but the Holy Spirit, as people call it, you can call it Jesus, Yeshua, Jehovah, Muhammad, whatever you want to call it. It's just one spirit. It don't matter if it's Buddha or
what you call it.
What you call it. It's just one spirit, and the spirit is within every one of us. It's God's consciousness. We got the antenna in here, and He beams it into us.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is. So once I got past all the dogma and all the, you know, you can go to some churches and they're like, well, if you're gay, you're going to hell. I could never get like, I'm like, I don't believe that, you know.
I don't know if he's worried about that.
Yeah, I don't. And if that's God, right? God's wrong. like, I'll tell him he's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I was in the battle. Like, if you think that's the way it is, then I don't want to go. I don't want to be in heaven.
I mean, I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
I can't get a tattoo.
Yeah,
I can't get a piercing.
Right. Or so I had to battle all that. There's a lot of that goes on, and you got to think somebody coming and dealing with drugs, they're dealing with mental health issues automatically, like from the trauma. I sold drugs for years. The trauma alone from just before I was 15, I had been shot at twice, guns pulled on me 4 or 5 times. By the time I was 21, I had been shot at 3 times, guns pulled on me multiple times. People try to rob me at gunpoint. Seen a guy get his head blown off at a gas station. Best friend killed. Just multiple traumas. Those are where the drug use comes in, because you got to be able to wake up the next day and going like nothing's, like everything's fine and dead. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I need something for this. And you got to do battle with that voice in your head. You got, like, who are you talking to? I don't need that. I don't want that. I don't need that. It's just got to be stronger than that. And God loves a relationship and dedication, discipline. God loves discipline. And finding discipline isn't easy. That's a hard one. I struggle with it daily, every day. So
before, we get to the end of this, I want to bring up, I guess, like we bring up the list again, but you brought up some of these people didn't OD, or there's circumstances that led to it that maybe wasn't in their control.
Right.
Like, for instance, you mentioned Jeremy was given 2 different things that didn't clash. Somebody's not on this list. Best friend of mine. We went to smoke some weed. He did all the time. I did with him. I'll be honest. But somebody laced it, and it killed him.
Yeah.
And there was 2-3 other people with him. They made it.
Yeah.
He didn't. And I think what I'm trying to get at is some of these people didn't get to go through the process because it's taken from them.
No, you're right. Okay, these people didn't get to go through the process because it was taken from them. And we can be angry about it, and we can blame, or we can learn a lesson. That's it's a simple, like, I hate to say it that way because these people in this list, a lot of them are very, very close friends of mine that I love very, very dearly. Uh, I had a half brother, but I really didn't have no siblings. So if I called you friend, I loved you. You were my brother, you were my family, and I would go to hell and back. I'd take a bullet for you. I'd go to war with God over you. So some of these people like Josh Taylor and Stevie, Rick, Yeager. Uh, there's another one like Oxley. There was always rumors that he did something that hurt one of my people. So me and him, we didn't ever talk. We didn't get along. Tommy and me didn't. And then we ended up locked up together. Uh, we was in the same little pod, And he knew me and I knew him, but we didn't get along. But we didn't know each other. We never spoke. We just, you know, and we ended up becoming cellmates. And he looked out for me. He made sure I had food when I didn't have no money. When people left me high and dry, and ended up being a great dude, man. And he's missed. Me and Tommy Smith, we had problems all growing up. But whenever I respected him a lot, because even though we had problems, he had went through a lot of the same stuff that I went through, and was hanging in there, still fighting. So I respected him a lot. And as we got older, after the car wreck, and I was out here, me and him started talking on Facebook or whatever. And so that was a hard one for me because me and him had battled all them years, and then we had finally got cool. And then Josh was a real hard one. Me and Josh Taylor, we had played Major League Football together. Uh, and we would hang out. He had his group of people he hung out with. I had mine. But me and him would always, every once in a while, get together and hang out all day. You know what I mean? Just me and him chilling, watching football or playing the game or whatever. And we was partying. I'm not gonna lie, partying our asses off. But so when he passed away, it hurt. He had two small children. That was I'm sure it's been hard on them, and I know it was hard on his family. And Stevie's mom, I know it's hard on her. Kathy, Jeremy's mom, I know it's hard on all of them. Uh, Sean Mullins, he got hit by a train. I know it crushed Barron, hurt Barron really bad, hurt Matt, hurt his mom really, really bad. I know they went through it. So my heart goes out. Bubbles. Uh, Bubbles was crazy, uh, but she was always a real, real good person, real nice person. Just shout out to all of them and all their families. My thoughts and prayers are always with all of you. Paul Shanklin, Shank, he didn't OD or nothing. He uh he was in a car chase with the police, ended bad. But we had been it was New Year's Eve and we was all at Rick's partying. So I know there was drugs and alcohol involved. Uh, Ben Cavender, he was in the military and they he had he had took something and passed away in the barracks. And he had a friend of mine. He was married to her, Amy, and they had just had a baby. And so I know that death was hard on a lot of people, a whole lot. That was real hard on Yeager. Probably one of the reasons he went down the path he, you know. And Yeager had, at the time, I didn't even realize it. Yeager had overdosed a couple times. And they had taken him to the hospital, and like he didn't talk about it. So like I didn't, you know what I mean? We didn't really.
Just not something you talk
Yeah,
about.
and then his brother told me, and so like even partying with Yeager, I didn't want to partake, you know. And when it happened, it was rough, man. It was So I know what addiction does on both sides. And you never, when you're addicted to something or going through this stuff, you never think about what you're putting other people through. You never think about what they're going through. And so once you start thinking about that, everything
Or
changes.
once the roles reversed.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, even like me now, uh, there's somebody that I love very dearly that I'm not for sure if they're still battling it, but the last time we had spoke, they were battling, and it's real close to home. Every day I pray for them to like I know me and them can't have a relationship no more, but every day I pray for them to be better and to get the help they need and to get right every single day because I don't want to see nothing happen to nobody else. So
I I don't know. You got me.
why?
I don't know.
Well, I know all my kids have dealt with it on both sides. Every one of my kids have dealt with it with me and their mothers, and so for a long time I carried around a lot of guilt for all of that. The same way with the names on the list, not because I did anything to put them on that list, but I did partake with them in all of the
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So that made me sit back and think like, man, you might have been part of the problem. And I didn't want to work on the wrong side anymore. I didn't want to be part of the problem. Not at all. Uh, not at all. I couldn't be part of the problem anymore.
You know, yeah, I never think I'd talk about this, but whenever I guess whenever I figured it out, once again I was incarcerated, but I got some letters. One from Nathaniel, and the messiest fucking handwriting I've ever seen in my life. Which was quite the talk amongst those, at least that were in the cell with me, because I could trust them not to take it anywhere else. You know how that goes, but just realizing how much I impacted him, for one, it threw me off because I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. Honestly, like in my heart and in my head, I didn't think I did anything wrong. I felt justified.
Right. No. And we all do.
And Nate was one of the people that made me realize, hey, it was wrong.
Yeah.
Because you hurt me.
Right. Exactly.
Like you're not here for my birthday because you decided to do something stupid.
Exactly. I want to go back. I was incarcerated for DUI, and it was your birthday. And I can remember being in jail and calling you, and I was upset at you. I was mad at you. And after we got off the phone, I felt like the biggest piece of shit for it. And so that's what I'm saying. My recovery process began while I was in, because whenever then my recovery process started, all these things come back to me. Things that I might not normally have ever even thought about or remembered ever again. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, they come back to me. And you realize they were important. They were pieces of the puzzle. So I just want to pray and tell everybody out there that there's a chance. Like if I can come back from, like I've been so far gone, which I'm sure most people have, when you're doing it, you don't think nobody knows. You know what I'm saying? You don't think nobody knows, nor do you give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? You just don't care. I was at that fucking at that point, and it was like I gotta change, not just for me, for you guys. US was the big one. I just hope, it, people see people out and they're struggling, people in the streets or whatever, and some people are real mean to them, they're real judgmental. One of those people could be your loved ones. You know what I mean? Like real quick and real easy. Just everybody should take that into consideration. Uh, they're not treating, and it's become a big issue. People, this lady just got stabbed in uh, North Carolina, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a mental health issue. And there's a lot of mental health issues here in this country, and the reason why is the programming. I'm a firm believer. They program you for so long with so much bullshit, and then if you don't, once you find out that programming is false, what do you got
It
to?
really messes you up.
It really messes you up. You know what I mean? When you believe in something your whole life and you find out, oh, they've been lying to me, it kind of messes some people up. So I just pray that everybody, every morning when I wake up, I pray and I just pray that God lets me give people. We was on here last night and Nate was telling a story about a hamburger or a drink incident
At a Burger King.
at a Burger King with me. Uh, those are things I never want to partake in. Like I want to give people a little more grace. Like those were hard for me. Like working on that stuff is the hard stuff. And I just think if more people knew, if they just started working on you got to do things you don't like. You got to do a lot of things you don't like.
Agree.
You know what I mean? It's just the way it is.
Before you get to that, I gotta
Oh,
continue
oh,
to give credit where credit was due. I mentioned Nate,
yeah.
which Nate was a big factor, but Isaac was also a big factor. Isaac wrote me, and I don't think I realized it because me and Isaac, at the time he lived in West Virginia, I was in Illinois. We didn't really communicate much unless it was through you or his mom. And at the time, me and his mom hadn't hashed out whatever BS I had going on up here, blaming whoever, which we've done. And Amy will walk me down the aisle on my wedding day, or however you want to put it. So we hashed that out. But Isaac just simply put something along. I hate to butcher this because I used to know it word for word, but it was something along like you're my Superman. Like put that fucking cape back on, and just I didn't know if I could. I just at the time in my head, I just I didn't I didn't think it was possible, and I didn't know how somebody could still look at me that way. And with that said, it was one of those like shit. Like I still look at my dad that way, and he's been here, and he's still out there, and like it hit hard, hard.
You bringing that up. I remember a time when I was forced it, and people was telling me, "Hey, look, you're a drug addict. You got to go to rehab, and you're gonna tell your kids you're a drug addict and all this stuff." And that was my reasoning behind not going. It was because, like, look, I ain't telling my kids that shit. They look at me like I'm a superhero, and I'm not going to crush that image. So I know that feeling of having somebody, and getting back to that is not easy. It's not easy at all, especially knowing. I know there was times when I was in full blown, like when the only thing I've ever really been physically or addicted to or dependent on was at one point I was snorting heroin because of the pain pill addiction, and I can remember times where you went and met the guy, and got the heroin and brought it to me because I was so sick. And that was like low of low for me. Like, you have no clue whenever I finally got off the shit. And then I went through doing all the other drugs I did and finally got off all them. That was one of the things that was like, you motherfucker. Like, how could you fucking do that? Like, what the fuck was wrong with you? I can remember I took some boxing too early and it sent me into severe withdrawals. And you called an ambulance for me. They took me to the hospital. The hospital treated me like shit.
They kicked you out.
Kicked me out. I'm throwing up all over myself. I haven't eaten a week. They're like, you fucking drug addict, get out. So that was another reason. Here's a medical facility. I'm coming in here because I took the medicine you gave me to get clean and sober. And it made me sicker than I've ever been before. And you're going to treat me like shit and throw me out. And you had to drive my car with no license, come and get me. So, like, those were things that I realized I had put you through that haunted me for a long time. Like, when you got in trouble and you went to jail, I blamed 110%. And so, and I'm homeless. I got Nate. We're on the streets. At that point, I was ready. It was like, yo, just take me. And God's like, nope. You're going to get the fuck up. You want to know why all this is going wrong? All this is going wrong because you're not being a man. All this is going wrong because you're being a coward. And it was a hard pill to swallow.
Usually is.
It was a big motherfucking hard pill to swallow. But I didn't never have no withdrawal symptoms from it. So
fair enough.
I'm going to, continue to, and I still get it. Still to this day, every day I wake up and there's something I could be working on. My room's a mess. Something, there's something. Dishes need done. Something. I'll be a lazy somewhere, and I just look at life like that. I got a whole new purpose in life, and I'm thankful for that. I wish the people we had lost would have got a chance for that. Some of them would have changed the world. I'm 110% positive that some of them people on that list could have changed the world.
I agree.
And so, just shout out to them and their families.
Put your readers on.
Don't drop them.
Don't drop the
I'm
readers.
blind and old, huh? I ain't old. Just getting started. I got this. Look, I got it all professional and everything, G.
Okay, G.
Okay. So this is saying 6 from the book of Thomas. It says, his disciples questioned him and said to him, do you want us to fast? How shall we pray? Shall we give alms? What diet shall we observe? Yeshua said, do not tell lies and do not do what you hate, for all things are plain in the sight of heaven. For nothing hidden will not become manifest, and nothing covered will not remain without being uncovered. So in that, we'll just go with the first part. So they asked him the question about what to do with the alms and the fasting and the prayer. And his reply was to do not tell lies and to do not do what you hate. And I believe the reason he says do not do what you hate is because blasphemy of the Holy Spirit will be the only unforgivable sin, which goes against the Spirit, which is yourself. The Spirit is you.
So you hate yourself.
So if you are blaspheming yourself, that's even like down talk. Like, I don't deserve this. I'm no good. Statements like, I won't never win. I'm a loser. Stuff like that. Even that stuff. But what he's saying is, if you feel that way internally and if you think that way, it becomes manifest in the real world. That's going to be your reality. And heaven is right here with us. The spiritual realm is what manifests your reality. Heaven is what is giving you that. So if you feel some type of way in your heart, you can't hide that from the Creator. And that's what will be brought back to you out here, in the reality. So if you're constantly plotting on doing somebody wrong, you're going to have a lot of stuff happen to you bad. And if you're constantly wallowing in being a victim, people are going to victimize you. It's just the way it is. If you have no motivation, you're constantly lazy, your life is going to look that way. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be hectic. And so I just think Yeshua was just trying to let people know that uh, before you go judging others, make sure you look at yourself and make sure what you hate them for
It's not in here.
is not in here. I don't feel he's telling you to hate anybody, but I'm
No.
just saying, like, for instance, you go to work, there's always this one coworker you can't stand. Half the time you probably can't stand them because you're a lot like them. Just
stay away from the hypocrisies.
Yeah, just stay away from the hypocrisies. I just want to say, I want to really hit home that I know if there's people out there that you have loved or lost due to addiction or whatever, and there were circumstances around that to where they were partaking with somebody or somebody had given it to them, whatever the case may be, you need to heal too. And the only way to do that is to forgive. Uh, I had there's two people on my shit list that I would probably put hands on if I come across in this world. But I had to forgive both of them. And one of them was dastardly. If I could punch his ticket to meet his maker, I would. But I couldn't because of you guys. But I had to forgive him. And not for him, but for me. And I just think that any of those people on that list wouldn't want nobody harboring any bitterness or resentment towards anybody. They would want them to live their life happy. And so I pray every day that everybody can heal. It probably shouldn't have been called recovery. It probably should have been called healing, because I just feel like that's what we all need. I feel like we all need spiritual healing and just healing in general from trauma. And I believe that's where recovery starts.
Fair enough. Thank you.
No problem.
We'll be back here tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be back here for the wrestling show tomorrow.
The wrestling show tomorrow, Monday, and we'll have the next episode of Talking with Angels.
Yeah, before we go, it was called Talking with Angels. And at first we was like, we were just going to get on here and do whatever.
We're just going to
chat. And I love that. And that's what we're going to do. But I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say they want to come on and tell their stories.
Yes, sir.
Redemption stories. And redemption stories is my thing. Like, I like it. The wrestling podcast is always on a redemption story. It's always. There's a lot of great recovery stories on the wrestling podcast too that people might want to check out. There's Nikita Koloff. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. So if you're into the recovery stuff, there's a lot of that on the wrestling channel. Yes, they're wrestling interviews, but they have a lot to do with like drug recovery, and
there's a lot
of them, a whole lot of different recovery from different things. Because addiction isn't just drugs. I had a gambling addiction at one point. I know people who are sick and dying from sex addictions. I know people who are, you know what I mean, different addictions, different problems. So, people who are dying from overeating, there's multiple facets. Caffeine, there's just multiple. So, anybody struggling with any of that out there, all praise to God. But what I was saying is, I think we're going to do just get people in here and let them tell their stories. Sometimes, whether it's about recovery and the drug thing is real close to my heart. So I'll always have time for that, no matter what. So if that's what it's about, so be it. But I even know another guy. He's real big into, and he drank all the time. He is recovering, and he didn't do it the conventional way either. He did it just working out and gave up alcohol, which alcohol is a drug I couldn't imagine quitting.
It's tough
It's got to be one of the toughest. I know.
because you gain a physical dependence.
Yes, it's like heroin or opiates. So I can only imagine. And he's changed his life around. And I'm going to have him on here to talk about just fitness, working out, because I believe it's a mind, body, and soul thing. It's a mind, body, and spirit. So there'll be different people coming on for different stories. And hopefully, eventually, we can get a channel up for just the talking things.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there one of these times. Eventually. We're working on it. This has been therapeutic, though.
I agree.
It's therapeutic for me. You almost got me with some tears. You almost got me. You almost got me.
I almost got me too. Yeah. It happens every week.
Does it?
Or every
one of these?
Every one of these.
Every one of these.
So far, we're 3, and every one. Last one I did cry. This one I almost did. So
I didn't cry.
We're getting them.
As always, thank everybody for their support. All praise to God. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll see you next time.